All right. Part 2 of Never Be a Jestermaxxer for Women. Now, as we found out in part 1, Jestermaxxing is basically just simping, being in the friend zone.
Himself by thinking, oh, I'm just building things with this woman. I'll get my chance eventually. You know, sooner or later she'll see me for the real me, and you know, see really like the true value of what I am and how great of a partner I would be. Guys like to delude themselves with those comforting lies, but in truth, it is all just Jestermaxxing. If you boil everything down, these guys are just wasting their time, a unreal amount of time, and it is just Jestermaxxing. And just to provide a little story that kind of sums this up, I was actually speaking to Men's Maxing a few days ago on this particular subject, and he was out at some like big party. I think it was Oktoberfest or something. It was only in the last month or so, and he was out, and it was like broken up into all of these tables.
I don't know if this guy's... He's from Europe somewhere.
And there was just like loads of groups, loads of young people sitting down on all of these tables. And he was like walking in and along the aisles. I think he did a lot of approaches in this time as well. He got quite a few girls' numbers. But he was looking at the table.
Yeah. That's what you need to be doing, guys. You need to be getting numbers, especially at these like social events. Especially if you're in Europe, where there's just like tons of people in a small, relatively small area. Like I've said this before, if you live in a place where there's like 50,000 people in your county, man, you could ask out literally thousands of women. You could get rejected thousands of times and still have women to ask out. Like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to just never even try.
Tables. And they were like, you know, usually a mix of some guys, some girls, and he had this speculation, and it was probably quite true to be honest, that most of the guys there, most of the guys that were talking to these girls, they weren't actually having an opportunity with these women. They didn't have any odds of making a future romantic intent with these girls. They were just Jestermaxxing. And fair enough, you might have 5% who actually had a chance and they were building on something. But for the 95% of the guys sitting with these attractive girls at these tables, they probably were just soaking up their time, and they were essentially just being used for attention by these women.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this in another video I want to do about beta orbiters. Now, like I said in part 1, some of these guys are just friends with these women. They don't give a crap about ever dating them. But yeah, there's going to be some simps in there for sure. And there's going to be guys who are there and they would date her, right? Like when I say there's guys who don't care about dating her, there's going to be some where they like legitimately don't want to ever date the woman. But there's going to also be some where they don't care. They would date them. Doesn't matter. It's meaningless. Maybe it'll happen. Who gives a shit? Right? So it's like they would date them. If attraction built, if they, you know, bing bang boom, chemistry happened, they would date them, but there's no consequence to it. They don't, like, they're not trying to date this person, but like maybe they would. Whatever.
I'll repeat, women love a good...
But there's plenty of time. I've been in similar situations where, hey, this woman, like, they're there with dudes, but those dudes ain't nothing but simps. They're either just friends with these guys or these guys are simps, and you just go right in and you get the girl's number or whatever. You leave the bar with her. It's very easy. Very like these... A lot of like beta male kind of guys, you're going to pick it up right away. Like you're going to know that there is like she has no attraction towards this guy. And a lot of it's really obvious. You don't even, literally, in some of these situations, you don't even have, like the woman doesn't even have to be there. Like say you're hanging out with a group of people and like she's going to show up, but then like you're interacting like with some guy that she's friends with. She doesn't even have to be there, and you can like pick up that the guy is just this risless dork.
Good Jestermaxxer. Women love guys like this. Women love guys that will listen to all of your problems. And for putting some pictures to all of the words that I've just spoken about, the basic Jestermaxxing story is that a woman will be in a situation...
I mean, men enjoy that too, right? Like, if you had this totally one-sided relationship with somebody where they're, like, right into you and you're not into them at all, and they're just, like, throwing themselves at you and, like, doing you favors and shit, hey, you're going to enjoy it. Now, it's a bad idea to date those people. Like, I've made that mistake before where it's like, all right, this woman's really into me. I guess I'll date her. Huge mistake. Because that's how you get a stalker. So, yeah, like, yikes.
Where she's got this guy friend, and she'll say something like, "Thank you for listening to all my problems." And the Jestermaxxer then says, "Anytime, Jane. I'll always be a pair of ears for you."
If a woman's consistently I would not. If a woman is complaining to me about her relationship, unless it's like a weird one-off thing, I'm gonna be in those guts. Like, sorry to be crude, but I'm not gonna be giving out like boyfriend type energy to a woman unless she's giving out girlfriend type energy, right? That's the reality, and that I hate to like use examples, but hey, sometimes it happens, right? Sometimes I don't know. Like I've literally sparked up friendships with women where they're like in a relationship and they're just down to be friends, and then all of a sudden if I have a friendship with you, right? Well, first of all, if I want to hook up with a woman, I'm gonna like make it pretty clear. I can be friends with women where it's real clear I want to hook up with them, and it's real clear they want to hook up with me, and we never actually hook up. It never actually goes to that level. But there's times where it does, right? But if we have a friendship, right, and you're someone I would hook up with, then I've probably given off that I'd possibly be interested in something like that, right? And it's just like tiny little subtle things. But if within that type of friendship, you start telling me intimate details about your life, then hey, that means we got an intimate friendship, and some intimate stuff is probably going to be happening, right? Hey, I haven't done anything like that in a while, but in the past I have, because hey, I like I said, friendship, like with the opposite sex, especially if there's any kind of attraction involved from any party, there has to be an even give and take, right? Like, it's a kind of a different story if you're like longtime friends, totally platonic. Then it can be kind of like you're not keeping track, right? It's not like at a certain point you get to be friends with somebody for so long, it's like we're not keeping tabs, right? We've both done hundreds of favors for each other. We're gonna, like, at any opportunity to do favors for each other, we're gonna do it, right? Within reason.
And then later that same day, when he eventually gets home, this is how you know that you're a Jestermaxxer. If you ever have this feeling when you eventually get home, you think, oh, when will I ever actually get my chance? When will I get my chance with Jane, who I've been obsessing over? She's been my one-itis for ages. I really...
Oh yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy that there are men out there who think like that at all. They just have, like, they just don't get it. They just don't know what the hell they're doing. Because what you need to be doing is not thinking, when will I get my chance? You need to be, regardless, shooting your shot. And the thing is, shooting your shot isn't this like one and done. Like, oh my God, I love you. I've been in love with you for years. You mean everything to me. That's not how you shoot your shot. How you shoot your shot is like little subtle things, like giving her like a slick compliment, especially if you can do it in a funny way. Like you can like kind of make her laugh and kind of be like a really chill energy about it, where it's like you're kind of hitting on them, but like you can't be hitting on them all the time, and you can't be doing this big like worship, I love you type of thing, because that's incredibly off-putting, and you should know that that is never going to work. No big grand gestures of any kind, but just little subtle things, and you need to be like consistently doing that, and you need to not be concerned as to when it'll happen, when something will happen. You should have it in your head, something will happen, right? I'm not saying like just you need to have that mindset, right? Something's going to happen eventually, because I'm a smooth operator, right? And it's going to happen eventually. It's just a matter of time. I don't care when. I'm not like, there's going to be no intensity, no pushiness, but it's going to happen. Because you should, you should have like built up some skills onto attracting women, and you know, there's a building of attraction, right? That mostly occurs from the point when you first, like your very first communication with someone of the opposite sex or same sex or whatever. They, to like months and months and months into them dating, right? Like knowing them for like a year, right? Like, or at least months of like you building an attraction. So you need to have the mindset. You need to get good. You need to know that you're good and be confident that you're good at this. And that throughout that entire like several month process, that it's going to go great. She's going to become more and more attracted to you, and it's going to be awesome. And a lot of that is like, that's why like getting experience is super valuable, because it just teaches you that, because you have examples of having done it multiple times. And the thing is, even if you haven't done it, millions of men have. Learn from their experience, right? Because when I'm in a situation, right, where I'm interested in a woman, I know she's going to be attracted to me, right? It's going to happen. Now that attraction's going to build, and it can build for years and years, right? And sometimes it can never pay off, right? But it can build for, there's no like limit on how long it can build, but there's going to be like points of progression, like phases of attraction building. And a lot of times you're only going to be in that first phase, that we met and we kind of have a little bit of chemistry. We kind of have this little coy, flirty thing we do sometimes. And it can be that and never be a relationship ever, ever, ever. That happens, and that's totally fine. There's no issue with that. In fact, it's a good thing if you have that, right? And I'll kind of talk about that in another video when I do one about beta orbiters. But yeah, so when I'm pursuing a woman, I'm doing the slow game or the fast game. Like I'm doing both a slow game and a fast game. I'm always doing a warm open, but it's just how warm, right? Like a woman's going to know pretty quick if I'm attracted to her or not. But what she doesn't know is she's going to probably, most likely, 9 times out of 10 be attracted to me to some extent. And that attraction's going to build as she gets to know me. She's going to find out that she likes my personality, that I like to have a good time and joke around, and people enjoy spending time with me, and I care about people, and I have a lot of interesting perspectives and interests and hobbies, and that's just what it is. I'm a good time. I like to have a good time. I like to do a variety of things. I'm pretty adventurous, right? So that attraction's going to be always building, and it doesn't always have to lead to anything, but it's there. And I know that once every phase of that attraction building, say it's like initial attraction building, like first meeting, to like maybe becoming, I don't know, acquaintances, and then the potential like outright dating from there, that phase, boom. I know that's going to go super well, and that attraction is going to continue to build, right? Through like dating, hanging out, having a late night conversation or whatever, hooking up. And then even if it's like goes from that first meet to acquaintance to then like developing a friendship and then to maybe a friends with benefits and then to a dating. I know even those separate, smaller, potentially smaller chunks, all through that entire process, her attraction towards me is going to build and build and build because she's going to enjoy spending time with me. She's going to enjoy the type of person that I am. She's going to like things about me and find more and more things that she likes about me as time goes on. And I know that because that's what happens. It happens like every time. It's like almost never not happened, right? And if it does happen, if there's a like hard line rejection, then it's happening at that very first phase. It's happening in the first like 10 minutes of conversation. So then it's like on to the next one because there's millions out there. But anyway, this is part 2. Let's do a part 3.